What's up guys, Intellitech Studios here, and today we're going to be reviewing the current version of the Shark Apex as opposed to the previous version that I just reviewed. This is the Shark Apex powered lift away with duo clean technology and self-cleaning brush roll, which is a massive mouthful of a name. It's model number AZ100x, and I'm going to be referring to it as the Apex 0M, since it's the version of the Apex with 0M, which is Shark's anti-tangle brush roll technology, at least their older variant of it, as of the time that I make this video. They've evolved at a few versions with the Vertex and the Stratos, but this is the old version, and overall it's still a very popular machine. It's still one that you can buy, and you can buy it at a vast range of prices, anywhere from $250 to $450, and obviously the more expensive you get, the less it becomes worth it, as with any machine. But let's discuss if it's even worth it at that $250 mark, because this is a machine you can still buy. So we're going to start by going into the pickup test and show you the results of that. I'm going to talk about it a little bit after I've been using it as my daily driver, and talk about the differences between it and the previous machine, and a few other little bits before we wrap this up and answer the main question. So we've got our usual culprit for a pickup test. We've got some instant mashed potato flakes sprinkled onto a carpet, a bare floor, and in between. This is a quarter cup of these potato flakes, and we're going to see how well the Shark Apex 0M does. On the carpet, we're going to have it on the normal carpet mode, and on floors, we're going to have it, of course, on bare floor mode. Alright, so looking at the results, so it appears that this, again, just like the previous Apex, it did not agitate the carpet very well, but we do have a few flakes left behind in the carpet, but honestly that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. It did okay. Not as good as some other machines, but it did okay. Now, where the story really shines is on bare floors, where we can see there's practically nothing left. So that's just like the previous dual clean. That's the best bare floor performance that I've ever tested. And the carpet clean performance, just like the previous dual clean Apex, leaves a little bit to be desired, but on hard floors in particular, it did an excellent job. Part of the reason why this machine does so well on bare floors is because of that soft roller located at the front of the brush roll. Now, this is part of Shark's Duo Clean technology. The idea is that you have a normal stiff bristle brush roller in the main part of the housing for carpets and rugs and all that sort of stuff, and then you also have a soft roller mounted on the front of the machine with no suction inlet, but the idea is that it's supposed to dust bare floors and also help large debris get underneath the nozzle in order to get picked up. And it works very well. This machine is just like the previous Apex. It's one of the best machines for large debris pickup on both carpets and bare floors. That is its main benefit. And because of the soft roller, it actually does great on fine debris as well. Now, the only reason why I don't consider this to be the best in terms of cleaning performance is because its actual performance at deep cleaning carpets leaves a lot to be desired. It does not clean as well as any of the lower end Shark models, which is really unacceptable given this is obviously a more premium, more expensive model, and it just doesn't perform in terms of carpet cleaning. So if you have all bare floors, then that's where something like this would shine. Or if you have mostly bare floors and a couple very low pile rugs, that's where this would also shine. If you have wall-to-wall carpeting and you have carpets in every single room except for your kitchen and bathroom, then this is not going to be the machine for you because it doesn't clean that well on carpets. Now, looking at the front nozzle assembly, and in fact, I will pull this apart so I can demonstrate this and show you how to do this real quick as well. So, you press this button right here. This is the wand release button. You press that, and that allows you to pull the handle off. You can pull it out of this clip. Press this button to release the wand, and you have to pull the cord out of it, otherwise it's not going to work. And then you press this button right here to remove the main housing from the floor head. Now we can look at this floor head more closely. So, just like the previous Apex, you've got two little notches right here that you can twist, or not twist, that you can push, and that allows you to pop off this cover, although for some reason this side on my unit does not want to open. There we go. And we can pop off this little cover. Now, I've heard a lot of people complain about these tabs breaking. So these are hard plastic, and basically what these are is these comb off the brush roller. They're actually very sharp, so they kind of cut hair as well. And they basically are there to remove hair from the brush roller and keep it from tangling up. Now, the way that this works, you're not able to suck up a huge glob of hair and then immediately turn off the machine. You have to let the vacuum spin its brush roller for a little bit longer, so that way these combs have time to comb off the hair. That's how it works. If you just try to suck up a bunch of long hair, you are going to get hair wrap. And I've seen people complain about hair wrap on this machine, and it's not an issue. Hair wrap on this machine should not be an issue, and if it is, you're probably not giving it enough time to actually comb off the hair. The only other possible exception is maybe if one of these combs have broken, which a lot of people have complained about as well. I personally have not had that issue, and I don't really see how that issue would crop up unless you're sucking up large objects that you're not supposed to be cleaning up with your vacuum. Things like nails, screws, bobby pins, stuff like that could be snapping these off. But otherwise, if you're just using it normally and you're sucking up dirt, hair, crumbs, all the usual stuff, then these shouldn't break. Even when I've sucked up dog food and stuff like that, I still have yet to break one of these. So these can break. This little rubber piece can break as well. This is another thing where I've seen a lot of people break this. I don't know how people break that, but it happens. And just like with the previous Apex, we see this is a problem. A lot of this debris that I just cleaned up as part of that pickup test didn't actually get sucked up, and that's part of the design flaw of having no suction in front of the soft roller. Now, the loop actually addressed this by the loop having the actual suction inlet in between the two rollers, but just like with the previous Apex, we have debris in between the two rollers, and we have a lot of debris caked on the soft roller that didn't actually get picked up. So this would eventually just fall out and get stuck back on your floors. We can also see that things can still get caught in between. I don't know where this came from, but that obviously got caught in there. But we can see that there is no hair on the brush roll. There's like one random piece of string, and that's it. So the actual anti-tangle technology does very well. We can see it literally dropping that debris off on the floor. And there's a clicking noise coming from somewhere. I'm not sure where that is. We also can see little connectors here. You want to make sure these don't break, otherwise your power head might not work. And there's an indicator LED right here that tells you the status of the brush. Green means it's working, red means it's broken, and clear means that it's off. So, now while you can't remove this main brush roller, and that's one of my biggest criticisms of this, is that if hair does get in between these ends, you can't change this brush roller. You can't do anything with the bearings. This is very anti-repair of a design, and Shark not only does not allow you to repair this nozzle, they also will not provide replacements for this under warranty. So if your brush roll breaks after you've had the machine for a month, which I've seen it happen firsthand, Shark will make you pay over $100 for a new cleaner head, even for a vacuum that's in warranty. Even their VIP warranty is fraudulent. You do not actually get any coverage for the power head on any of Shark's warranties that I'm aware of. So even if you go out of your way to buy from Shark's website to get the better warranty, it does not cover the power head. So if this breaks, which this is a wear item, it can break, it's not designed to last, you're kind of up a creek. I've also seen this neck break on a lot of these. The internal hose doesn't break too much anymore. Shark did fix that. But what does break often are these internal wheels. These can break. And again, none of these parts are replaceable. None of these parts are serviceable. This vacuum is not designed to be serviced. It's designed to be thrown away. And I'm really disappointed because, not even disappointed, that really undersells it. I'm very annoyed that that is the mindset of something this expensive. Even a cheap machine still should have parts available, but especially something that's upwards of $500, you should be able to service it, and you should be able to get parts replaced for it, and especially if you shell out money for the extra warranty. So that whole power head, it works, but it has its issues, it has its design flaws, and this whole machine does go back together pretty well. You press this button right here to release the bin. Just like the previous Apex, you can open up both sides of it. The filter is very easy to access, so I like all of that. Filters are very cheap for this. You have to change or I should say, you have to wash the filters in here about every month. So there's 2 right there, and there's also a HEPA filter on the front that you have to replace about every year. But the good news is that these aren't all that expensive to replace, so just go ahead and change them. You can even buy an extra set and keep it nearby while the other set is drying. So all of that works nicely. And, so even though you do have a lot of maintenance you still have to do with this machine in regards to filters, at least the filters are very cheap, and at least you don't have to worry about the brush roll as much. So there are some benefits there. Now the wand pops in right here, just like that. And we have our hose right here. Now, one thing that's really annoying that Shark downgraded is this hose. This hose does not stretch very much at all. I've noticed that whenever I was trying to use the attachments, whenever I was testing the motorized pet tool and a lot of the other attachments, this vacuum falls over very easily. Especially if I have it like this to try to keep it from falling over, it will fall over. And that's even with it right next to the couch. Even with it propped right up against the couch, just me going to the back of the cushion to clean it will cause this to fall over. So, if you think you're going to be able to get any sort of reach out of this hose, think again. You're not going to get a lot. And on the previous Apex, it wasn't so bad because the hose stretched out a lot more. It was a little difficult to stretch because it was kind of bulky as a result of the connections, but at least you could do it. You could get up and get some reach out of it. With this, you can't. Whenever you pull this off and whenever you want to grab the wand and attach it to do some sort of dusting or anything like that, you can't really reach all that much. The hose stretches a little bit, but it's fighting you the whole time, and it doesn't stretch well enough. When you compare that to something like the Dyson, where you can leave the machine at the bottom of the stairs and carry the hose all the way up the stairs, you can't do that with this. Now they do have the powered lift-away function, which does work. You can use it in lift-away mode and pop this piece off, but the hose is, again, even more cumbersome than the previous Apex, and I already had issues with using the powered lift-away function on the previous Apex, and this machine is no exception. So it's whenever you're pushing it forward, it's very hard to control when you have it in the powered lift-away mode, and I'll demonstrate that real quick. So if I have this in the powered lift-away mode, it just really wants to jump forward, and it really wants to fight. And again, this hose does not maneuver all that well, so it's fighting you even more. There is very little range of motion for this. I will say, using the power head on this in lift-away mode is a lot better than it is on the previous Apex. So they did improve that, but the problem is that since they made the hose worse, it's just as cumbersome in practice because you don't get a lot of hose length, and it's constantly trying to fight you while you're trying to vacuum with it. So I wouldn't recommend trying to vacuum your whole house with it in powered lift-away mode, but it is better than the previous Apex when you're trying to use it to get underneath things. So that part is better, and that actually does work very well. So if you're trying to use this briefly, the powered lift-away, to get underneath things, it's a lot better than previous iterations. But it still does have some work to be done in terms of the maneuverability of the hose. So the hose is just too stiff and doesn't really work very well because of the fact that it's not as maneuverable, so you're really fighting with it, and it makes vacuuming not as pleasant of an experience. Now granted, if you combine the hose with the previous Apex with the power head from this Apex, then you got a pretty solid combination. So had Shark kept their previous hose design and not downgraded it on the newer Apex, then this would have been a lot better. Still would have been perfect, but would have been perfectly fine in a pinch. But unfortunately, they didn't do that. So using this is not going to be all that pleasant, and it's just not very enjoyable. And sorry if I can't think of good words to describe it. It's just not. Sorry, my brain is not working right now, but hopefully you can understand what I'm saying. Like, it works. It's just I never end up wanting to use it because of how cumbersome it is, if that makes sense. And I would rather just use something like, a cordless or something, or just even a different vacuum like a canister to get underneath my bed or my couch or anything like that. But it is still a nice feature to have, and as long as you can deal with it being a little bit cumbersome, it does work. Now, just like the previous Apex, we do have a 30-foot cord, which I wish it was a little bit longer because the equivalent Dysons are usually around 35 feet, and I think 35 feet is the perfect length for a cord. 30 feet is a little low, especially if you're paying upwards of $400 for this machine. It should be a little bit longer, but it's okay. It definitely gets the job done. It's not 25 feet like a lot of the lower end Sharks, so at least you do get that extra reach. And in my opinion, 30 feet should be the minimum on vacuums, and this does reach the minimum. So that works pretty well, and no complaints with the cord. So that's pretty much it. Let's go over all the things that I mentioned in this review as far as likes and dislikes and whether I overall recommend this machine. So, things that I like. The cord length is adequate, the bare floor performance is excellent, the replacement parts, the replenishments like filters and attachments are incredibly cheap and easy to find, and the machine is fairly versatile with the powered lift-away technology, and the machine is nice and quiet and has a few adjustable options that I do like. The things that I dislike. The repairability and the build quality of this machine is not good. The machine creaks and wobbles and just overall just does not feel put together very well, which is unacceptable for a machine in this price range. The other thing that I don't like is reliability. This machine has had issues in the past of certain parts breaking and electrical components needing replaced and being under recall even in some instances for them failing, and Shark's warranty has not been very good at compensating those customers. Other things that I dislike, the hose is too stiff for it to be all that usable, and the pod is way too heavy in lift-away mode for that to be practical to use in lift-away mode, unlike the previous Shark models. So, and finally, the thing that I don't like is the carpet cleaning performance. It does not clean very well, it does not agitate very well, and it overall just does not leave carpets clean, and that's incredibly important for a vacuum that's designed at least half to be for carpets. Now, also, one of the things that I forgot to mention in my light category is I do like the LED headlights, but it would be nice to have an option to turn them on or off, so that way, whether you prefer or don't prefer them, you get to use your choice. And while I'm nitpicking, it would be nice if this machine used a standard 1.25" fitting, so attachments were more universal and easy to find instead of having to buy Shark-specific attachments. Although, like I mentioned, since Sharks are very popular, attachments are easy to find. So, and also the machine's too heavy. So overall, would I recommend this machine? And for me personally, I would not recommend this machine, primarily because of the fact that it's too bulky and doesn't clean well enough on carpets for it to be a daily driver, at least for me. If you have mostly bare floors in your house and the few rugs you have are low pile, and you have a lot of furniture that you want to be able to get under and clean effectively, then this would be a great option, as long as you're careful and make sure that you well, I don't really know what you can do because these machines just aren't designed to last. So hopefully you just get lucky because, again, these are not designed to be serviceable. And if your machine does break, hopefully you get the one Shark rep who'd be willing to take care of you and not charge you for a warranty replacement. So in that scenario, I could see this machine being a good fit, especially because of its exceptional bare floor cleaning performance. But for any other scenario, I just think there are better options out there. And when you're spending this much money, there's nothing wrong with even buying a second machine to accomplish tasks that your original machine might not cover, instead of trying to make a machine that does everything and ends up being a jack of all trades but a master of none. And yeah, I kind of feel like that's a good stopping point here, because jack of all trades, master of none is a good way to describe the Shark power lift away machines. They try to compensate for every possible feature that someone could want, but they end up not executing anything particularly well. If only Shark could improve their build quality game, improve their warranty, and improve the carpet cleaning performance of these machines, and make them a little bit easier to maneuver, then this could be a solid choice, especially for the price point. But as is with those flaws, I just can't in good faith recommend this to anybody unless you get one for incredibly cheap. If you can find one for around the closer to $250 mark, and you're willing to deal with the potential issues down the road, then you definitely could theoretically choose something worse. So yeah, this is Intellitech Studios signing out with my full review of the Shark Apex 0M model AZ100x, and this was my full review. And yeah, I can tell that the lack of sleep is starting to get to me, so I'm not really all in it, so hopefully you could bear with me a little bit. And if you made it to the end of this video, then please consider dropping a like. And for those of you who did, thank you very much. For those of you who subscribed, thank you very much. Let me know what you want me to review next. I do plan on getting a Vertex and a Stratos at some point for a review, but those are expensive and I can't just drop that money out of nowhere. But it is on my to-do list for review. So that is that. This is Intellitech Studios signing out. Let me know what your experience with this machine is in the comments below. And look, I'm gonna end this with this little mini rant, because I've heard a lot of people get very polarized over Sharks in general. There are people that love Sharks. There are people that hate Sharks. There are people that can't understand why people wouldn't love them, and people that can't understand why people wouldn't hate them. I understand both sides of the coin, and I understand why people buy these machines. A lot of other people in this industry don't, and they seem to not understand why people like these machines. I get why people like them. I personally don't, but I'm not representative of the entire consumer industry. So I'm not going to shame someone for buying a Shark if they feel that that machine is right for them. I'm just going to let them know that there are benefits, there are drawbacks, just like every other product, and just I want people to know what they're getting into. If you're spending this much money on a machine, I don't want you to be unhappy with your purchase. That's why my reviews are usually incredibly long, because I'm trying to make sure that you know everything that you can possibly know about the machine, so you don't miss something that's important to you and make the wrong decision, and especially make the wrong decision but not realize it was the wrong decision after you can't return the vacuum anymore. So I get it. This machine does have its appeal. I just personally feel like the cons outweigh the pros. But yeah, if you have this machine and you love it, or you hate it, or something in between, let me know your experience in the comments below. I'd love to hear from other people about this, because I know a lot of people have these. So, with that said, this was Intellitech Studios and my full review of the Shark Apex 0M. I'll see you guys in the next video, and I hope you all have a good one. Peace.